Hey, today I'm gonna help a community member who just got his first $1,500 client. The reason I'm doing this is because I offer something called First Client Reward, where I personally help members with their first client so they can calm their anxiety about service delivery, deliver results for their first client. This is something that I wish I had when I first got started. So my goal is to remove all these limits and beliefs about service delivery so they can actually scale and kickstart their own career. In case it's your first time here, my name is Saad. I build sales systems for a living. I've also scaled a sales team agency to $139K a month. And I also built a SaaS specifically for people in my community. That way they don't have to spend $400 to $500 on external tools so they can focus on actually doing the work. So let's read through this member post. Closed, $1,495, 50% deposit plus $2,000 a month retainer. So not only he closed a $1,500 deal, but he also got them on a $2K retainer, which is absolutely insane in my opinion. Biggest win since it's a retainer. I used a super simple connector style email plus closed him within 10 minutes. So he closed the deal within 10 minutes using the sales script structure Saad mentioned in his YouTube video. Yeah, if you guys don't know, I have like multiple videos about closing deals as a sales team agency, right? So just go ahead and watch that playlist. So it's going to help you guys a ton. It's going to basically boost your confidence so that way you can communicate clearly in sales calls and actually close deals, Because I always say, if you're not selling, you're not making money. I was having some issues for the past month, but this win cemented my confidence in what I'm doing. I'm gonna triple down and see you guys at 10K a month. Time for first client reward section, Saad. And here's my comments here. I guess I should change the name of SSM as in Connect Angle Mastery. Excellent work, yeah. So to give you guys some context, this guy actually already made like 7 figures in e-commerce, right? And then he noticed that the AI and automation space was booming. So he decided to go down that path of trying Upwork, Fiverr, trying to sell automation services on Upwork, but it didn't work. Because I hopped on a call with him like 3 days ago, and he was talking about he made a ton of money in e-commerce, but when he tried selling automation, which is classic, selling just random automation on Upwork, it didn't work and was very humbling. I mean, it is because if you're used at making a certain amount of money and then you go back to like Upwork or Fiverr, obviously you're going to get humbled. So the way he actually knew about me is I was part of other communities and I was providing like a shit ton of value. And he noticed that and he decided to give it a go. And now he closed a $1,500 deal plus a $2K retainer. And he actually closed a couple more deals after this video. This is like 9 days ago. So he closed several deals after this, which is absolutely insane. Excellent work, my friend. So I'm going to walk you guys through what this client that he just onboarded or he just closed actually do, how we actually deliver, etc. That way you guys can take that information, digest it, apply that whenever you get your first client in a similar niche. Okay, so let's say you close the client. Congrats. Well, now what do? Well, you need to send your newly onboarded clients or newly closed clients an onboarding form, which typically has a bunch of questions about their business, etc. And then you just go through it during a kickoff or / onboarding call, okay, which is essentially just like a 15 to 20 minute call where you share credentials, talk about their offer, talk about their target audience, etc., etc. So you can just gather that information, use that when you are actually delivering, okay? So this is an example. So onboarding form, this is my own onboarding form. As you guys can see, my process. So if I click on start, there's a bunch of questions such as general business information. There's also a website URL. What's your email? Your offer and target audience. What are the benefits of your offer? What sets you apart? Do you offer any guarantees? What are the biggest pain points of your ideal customer? ICP. Give us one description of who you sell product / service to. We also have, please provide a bullet list of 5 to 10 companies you consider to be ideal clients. Give us the URL that matches your ideal customer profile. We also have, give us some titles that your ideal customer has. So basically just a bunch of questions that they need to answer, okay? So his clients already provided these answers, but typically when you work with a client, they're going to give you like vague answers, and it's typically going to be some sort of like enterprise jargon, okay? We help support companies with their audits, blah, 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 all this jargon. So what you should do is basically clarify their offer in a way that humans that walk in the streets and people who actually touch grass can understand, okay? So let me just go ahead and walk you guys through the clarification that I've done. So this is the document that I sent him. Congrats on the recent win, man. Here's a connector angle system for you, including updated copy, lead source, filters, Apollo Crunchbase, basically everything that he needs. This is a document that we're going to be using as we go to deliver the project, okay? So essentially we have the thought process, why I specifically said go here or do this, right? And then we also have the connector email copy, bunch of angles. We also have, if they say connect me, handling the handoff, which is super crucial. So this is the document that I whipped up for him. Now let's just go ahead and walk you through what this clients actually do. So what do they do? So X, basically just X, because I'm not going to mention the name of the company. X keeps companies' apps safe. They can scan code and test websites for security issues automatically, so teams don't have to worry about hackers. Essentially, it's just like a cybersecurity service that helps apps, that helps companies keep their apps safe. That's literally it. I believe he targeted the cybersecurity niche. So who they help? Well, they help mid-sized companies from 200 to 1,000 staff that build their own apps but don't have a security team. Because if you guys don't know, and this is something that I just recently knew about, when you build an app or like a SaaS, it's not the app itself, but the security aspect of it what is expensive, okay? What's expensive is the security, etc., so you don't get hacked. But the actual code or like the service that you're going to be providing, the software as a service app, is not hard, okay? The hardest thing is actually keeping security in check. So this client actually solves a real business problem. So X handles it for them so their developers can focus on building instead of worrying about security, okay? So how do we find these companies, these mid-sized companies that this client serves? Well, we're going to go to this document. So lead sourcing is going to be Apollo or Crunchbase. So we're just going to choose Apollo, which is basically the most straightforward way to gather leads. I always say you want to be doing things that don't scale, which means you want to squeeze as much juice from the lowest hanging fruits. And the lowest hanging fruits in our case is Apollo because it's so easy, straightforward. You can easily scrape those leads. You can easily build a list, etc. You can just scrape it and get started and get up and running as quickly as possible. So we're just going to go to Apollo. And then we're going to go ahead and build a list. So you want to sign up. You're just going to sign up for free. Okay, this is essentially what I've done. You do not need a paid account on Apollo, by the way. Okay, because we're going to scrape Apollo. So I'm just going to go to find people. I'm going to go to email status, make sure it's safe to send. Okay, make sure to always untoggle include catch-all email. So it's going to be just like this. Make sure to untoggle this. Now, let me just remove these job titles that I had from my past searches. Okay, there we go. Make sure you're always in the Knit New tab, always. All right, now we're going to go to job titles, and here are the job titles that they want to work with. So, Head of Information Security, copy and paste. We also want Application Security Manager. These are all technical roles. And then also CTO. You're going to notice that if I type in CTO, the list is going to bump like crazy. There we go, 40K. All right, VP Engineering or DevOps. Okay, yeah. DevOps. We also want VP of Engineering, copy, paste, Director of Technology, we also want Compliance Officer and Risk Officer. These are cool job titles, right? Risk Officer. All right, so we have 171K. So location is going to be United States. Employees, what do we want? We want 200 to 500. Well, 200 to 1,000. So from 200, and there we go. All right. 31K. We're going to go to industry and keywords. So the industry that we want is going to be financial services. So simply type in financial services. We also want fintech. I believe there's fintech. Maybe gaming? Computer games? Yeah, computer games. Same thing as gaming, which is here. Real estate, I believe we're good now. 2.9K is already good. So let's just actually check out these companies. GDS Link. Yeah, they really need security. Check this out. Empower your business with advanced credit risk decisioning. So AI-powered analytics and automated workflows to simplify decision making and improve precision across the credit lifestyle. This is really good. This is an app. Yeah. Yeah, this is a company that this client would want to work with. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and scrape this list. So how do we scrape this list? Well, simply we're just going to use a platform called Apify. So apify.com. Apify is basically like a marketplace where you can find scrapers or crawlers, which is essentially just tools that you can use to scrape platforms like Apollo, LinkedIn, Crunchbase, etc. So the one that I want is going to be in the search bar. So I'm just going to type in Apollo. And it's going to be this one, the 50K up to 50K leads. So you can essentially scrape up to 50K leads from Apollo. And Apollo is just a free account, by the way. Like I always say, you do not need an Apollo account. Like you just get a free one. All right. So now I'm simply going to copy this URL and then simply paste it here. The total number of records required, you can literally scrape whatever you want. I'm just going to scrape 1,000 as a sample. By the way, when you work with the clients, I forgot to mention this. Once you scrape those leads, you do not want to blast all of them. You want to batch. For example, you scrape like 10,000 leads. You want to test each copy. For example, 500 leads, you send them this copy and then you wait. You see if there's traction. You do not want to send like 5,000 emails. You do not want to reach out to like 5,000 leads or 6,000 leads because what if the offer doesn't land? Well, you need to scrape again, which is very annoying. So always batch, okay? So 1,000, run option, no timeout, clean output, and I'm simply going to click on save and start. By the way, I'm going to get charged like $1 because it's a pay per lead. If you go here, $1, right? $1 per 1,000 leads. So I'm simply going to go to here and I'm going to see that it's getting all the leads for me. So once that's done, it's probably going to take us 2 minutes. I'm going to get back to you guys. All right. So we just finished scraping the leads. It took us 5 minutes. So now what do? We're going to export this as a CSV, basically as a Google Sheets. So I'm going to click on download and simply click on OK. That's literally it. Now I'm going to go to sheets.new. Sheets.new is basically like a domain that was recently, well, not recently, like 2 years ago, was created by Google or built by Google. So you can just go to sheets.new and create a new sheet instead of going to Drive and create a new sheet. So it's going to save you a ton of time. Okay. So click on this file button, click on import, go to upload and simply drag and drop your list here. There we go. And then here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to import location, make sure it's append and import data. So now we can import the Google Sheet that we just scraped off Apollo using Apify, and then we have it in our Google Sheets. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm simply going to bolden this up and I use this, I'll use this Geese font. I really love this font, to be honest. And then we have the departments, we have the email, etc. So I'm just going to delete some of the fields that I don't care about. Delete, I have the name, delete this too, short description. Okay. I also get the Twitter URL, which is awesome. So I'm just going to clean this up. Country, email, first name, headline, last name, annual revenue, and delete this too. I'm going to make this a little bit more aesthetically pleasing for you guys so you can see it clearly when you're watching this. So there we go. Now it's way cleaner. I'm just going to name this Andy's list. Okay. Now I'm going to add 2 rows here. Email status, though actually just one, which is email status. Okay. All right. Awesome. So I'm just going to make this color blue. I like blue. There we go. Awesome. So the reason why I added email status, because the next step right now is basically going to be validating these emails, because whenever you scrape leads off Apollo, the leads are not going to be 100% valid, okay? I see some, records that we don't have the emails. So I'm simply going to create a filter by blanks. Okay, sweet. And now I have my list. Awesome. So now what do? Well, we're simply going to plug this into make.com. Okay, I'm going to share with you guys the system, right? So I'm simply going to go to make.com, and then we're going to basically do this in front of you. You're going to see the magic, okay? So I'm simply going to go to scenarios, and the flow that I want is going to be the flash. This one. And let me just walk you guys through how it works. Basically using a Google Sheets module, which is this one. So it's called Get Leads, which is basically just like a search rows. And then we're aggregating. So essentially what we're doing is basically retrieving that data, and then we're batching it, because whenever you work with an API, or like you're trying to verify emails, find emails, etc., generate personalization, you're going to get rate limited. So we're batching 50 by 50, and then we're iterating. And what we're doing is we're making an HTTP request, right, to this webhook, which is this one. And then we're catching that data, iterating, and using the SaaS that we just built for the community, which is essentially this one, verify the email, okay? And then we're updating the row, okay? So this is exactly what we're going to be doing. Let me just walk you guys through it. So I'm just going to go to Get Leads, and then the name of the sheet is Andy's List. So I'm simply going to go to Spreadsheet ID. There we go. Sheet name is going to be Sheet 3. Actually, Sheet 2. Yeah, Sheet 2. Okay, and then limits. We're simply just going to get 1 now. All right. So we're getting the data. Well, now we're just going to aggregate it. So let's save this again. So we're getting the row number. We're getting the city. No, we do not want the city. We do not want the country. We want the email, first name, last name, company name. And that's pretty much it. Yes. And then we're batching the leads, which is the array. And then we're iterating, and then we're sending the requests. So I'm simply gonna, I need to run this. So when you guys download this blueprint, you guys can just go ahead and do this exact steps that I'm doing right now. And then unlink this, run anyway. There we go. So you would update your Google Sheets, and then now you're just going to have to map the correct data. So it's going to be company, which is company, the name, or let's just name this first name. And the first name is basically the first name. The email is the email. And then we're also going to add last name, which is last name. And then that's pretty much it. Let me check. Yes. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to unlink this, run once, and check this out. So if I run once, I'm going to send this here, and I'm going to get it here. Awesome. So now that I got this data, what do? Well, I'm going to iterate. So iterating. So this is the email, right? And basically this is the email verifier that we just built. And then now let's simply unlink this, run once again, and then check this out. So we're validating the email. We're going to check if the email is valid. So let's see. So valid. So this first email is valid. Okay. Now we're going to have to update the row. Okay. So if email is valid, by the way, this is just a filter. So if email is valid. So once you download, there's basically just going to plug and play. Okay. So row number is row number. And we also have, so let's just, actually we need to map the correct spreadsheet ID, which is going to be Andy's list. Sheet name is going to be sheet 2. See how easy it is? And then sheet 2. And then now This is the email status. I'm simply going to type in valid. Okay, sweet. Now I'm just going to save this, auto align this, and you're going to see the magic. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how fast our SaaS is. This is basically like just knocks any mail finder, scrape, hunter, anything. Okay, so check this out. I'm just going to save this, go back, and gonna run once, boom. Look how quick this is. There we go. See how quick that is? So I just verified 50 emails in 1 second, okay, which is absolutely insane, right? So all of these first emails are valid. The ones that are blank are essentially just not valid, all right? What do we do now? Well, we're simply going to plug this entire thing into Instantly, which is going to be our cold email software they're going to be using, okay? So essentially now we have these leads, okay? We have the verified emails, etc. So what do we do now? Well, let me walk you guys through the copy that he's going to be using. So it's in this document. So we're going to be using this angle right here. Obviously, there's multiple angles, but this is the one just for the purpose of this video. So, hey, first name, saw company name, builds in-house applications and figured out reach out. I know a security team that recently helped a fast-scaling SaaS firm slash false positives by 99% and fully automate their application security layer, all without hiring extra AppSec engineers. If company name is working to scale securely without ballooning overhead, happy to intro, no pressure either way. So this is called the connector angle. Okay, so I'm simply going to go to Instantly right now. I'm going to create a new campaign and I'm simply going to just put this Google Sheets into Instantly, which is very, very easy. So as you guys can see, it took us like 15 minutes. So log in. I'm simply going to log into this account. I'm going to go to campaigns, add new. So first client reward, Andy, continue. All right, so these are all the valid emails. Okay, so I'm simply going to go to file again. Download. So file again, download, CSV, boom, and then go to leads, add leads, upload CSV, same thing. There we go. I have the email, I have the first name and last name. There we go. Now I'm simply gonna have to copy this right here and paste it here. So saw company name, built in-house. The beauty about the connector angle is just like a method that I came up with when I was scaling my agency. So instead of like pitching directly your client's services, you just act as a connector, the middleman, right? Which is called the connector angle. So as you guys can see here, there's no need of personalization because this is highly relevant and timely. The only reason to use personalization, if you're not really sure if your value prop or your offer actually is going to land, okay? So if I preview, hey Alexander, saw Varo Bank builds in-house applications and figured out reach out. I know a security team that recently helped a fast-scaling SaaS firm slash false positives by 99% and fully automate their application security layer, all without hiring extra AppSec engineers. If Varo Bank is working to scale securely without ballooning overhead, happy to intro. No pressure either way, okay? Now we're just going to copy this subject line. And there we go. This is what I mean by a good email. Okay, let me just send a test. Check this out. Send test email. Let me check my email. There we go. Awesome. So this is how you would fulfill for a similar client. Very, very easy, as you guys can see, doing things that don't scale, right? So now the only thing you have to do is simply get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.